Welcome to another UCL Fantasy team selection video ahead of Matchday 5. I'll be recapping on how I did in Matchday 4 and talking about what we could do going into Matchday 5 and also in the back of our minds thinking about Matchday 6. Let's get this video to over 300 likes and let's also push on towards 16,000 subscribers. That'd be greatly appreciated. And once again, just as a disclaimer, this video is recorded very early on in the week, so there may be further updates in terms of injuries and other bits of news we need to know about that won't be covered in this video because it's recorded so early. So bear that in mind when watching this, and without further ado, let's get straight into this video. I scored 69 points in Matchday 4, so I now have 344 overall, and my overall rank went up by 195 places, so I'm now 5,012th in the world. And be sure to join the league that you can see on the left-hand side of your screen, and it's also in the description below. And as you can see, if we go through this team, I only had one goalkeeper going into this match day. I had so many other fires to put out, so I decided to keep Adan, who was suspended, and Lunin actually conceded in a 1-1 draw with Shakhtar Donetsk. And as for my backline, a bit disappointing as well. One of my transfers, Di Lorenzo, only got a 2-pointer, and Tsimikas got a 5-pointer with an assist, so not too shabby there. Joao Cancelo with an 8-pointer, and Upamecano with 4, and he actually came off just before Bayern conceded the second goal to Pilsen. So, you know, you got to take it. At least it's one extra point that he kind of saved there. As for my midfield, Bellingham, one of my transfers in, was exceptional. Another man of the match award for him. The same goes for Kvaratskhelia, and it was really those two and Mbappe who made this into a fairly decent week where I maintained my rank, so to speak, but the captaincy decision was wrong. I actually captained De Bruyne, and that red card for Manchester City, Sergio Gomez being sent off so early, changed the game, and I think De Bruyne could have gotten some attacking returns, but it's a shame. It is what it is. Haaland was also on my bench because he wasn't in the starting 11, and the Manchester City game was actually in a very early kickoff, so we had the pleasure and the fortune of actually seeing the City lineup so we can make our final decisions, but in the end, very disappointing from the City assets apart from Cancelo. Carvajal also was benched, and we also had murmurings about that before the match day began, but once again I had other fires to put out, so in the end I went for these transfers of Bellingham and Di Lorenzo, and I also kept my goalkeepers. But going forward, as you can see, you know, Lunin might not start in match day 5 and 6 with Courtois slowly looming and getting back into the side. He's already in training, and Adan is going to be available once again to face Spurs, but that isn't a great goalkeeper to have at this point in time. But Jukla got a 2-pointer, but still very impressive him, and he obviously played a big part in matchday 3 for me. And as for Kudus, I brought him on actually for Kevin De Bruyne, so I missed out on 1 point from that decision. It's not the end of the world, but really the kind of main thing that held me back this week was the captaincy decision, going for De Bruyne and then going for Sané, and actually the likes of Bellingham and Cancelo would have made for better captaincy options, but there you go. That's hindsight for you. I was considering them, but I was very set on De Bruyne. Now let me go into the Matchday 5 team selection portion of this video, and I'll also talk about some transfers I'm thinking about to improve my team. Without making any transfers, I have a few issues, especially in goal. So Adan is away to Tottenham. I wouldn't expect absolutely anything there, despite them beating Spurs 2-0 a few match days ago. And as for Lunin, he's away to Leipzig, which isn't too bad, even though it seems like it on paper. But the main issue is Courtois. He's back in training and he should be available fairly soon. If it's not Elche this Wednesday, then it probably will be this weekend against Sevilla, and then he'll be also available against Leipzig next week. But will Real Madrid rotate, with Ancelotti maybe even rotating in goal and playing Lunin in the Champions League and then saving Courtois for La Liga? That is a possibility, but once again, it's all up in the air. Then you look at Carvajal away to Leipzig. He could be benched once again, like it was in matchday 4 for Lucas Vazquez. Then you got Di Lorenzo. I think he's a great option at home to Rangers. I'm happy to keep him, and I would expect Napoli to put a really strong side there to just seal qualification and first position. And Joao Cancelo away to Dortmund. Not a great fixture, but I still expect some big things from him. He is a jack of all trades as well in the defence. He's the best UCL fantasy defender, period. I'm happy to have him, and that's really all there is to say about him. Upamecano away to Barcelona. Now that's a fixture where, despite Barcelona's troubles, I would expect Barcelona to score some goals there. So Upamecano isn't the greatest pick this week, and that's why he isn't actually a consideration in the Limitless and also the wildcard. Be sure to check out those videos as well. And Tsimikas away to Ajax. It all really depends, I think, on the Premier League. So if Liverpool play Robertson at home to West Ham, and they also play Robertson consistently in the league, then maybe Tsimikas will start in the Champions League. So that is my hope, but also I am a bit worried, and I think Robertson could start in that game against Ajax. So already with my defensive line, Carvajal could be rotated. The same goes for Lunin, for Courtois, and you also have Adam facing Spurs away, where I don't expect absolutely anything. Upamecano has a tough fixture, and Tsimikas could be benched. So a lot of issues on my defensive line, but things look a bit better when we go to the midfield. Bellingham is facing Manchester City, so it's a really tough game, but I like Bellingham for matchday 6 against Copenhagen, and Bellingham has been fantastic this season, and that's only one matchday where he didn't get a double-digit return, and that was in matchday 2, where he got 9 points, so he's an absolutely exceptional asset. I'm happy to keep him. De Bruyne as well, I don't see him getting a double-digit return against Dortmund, but it's still possible. That's the quality of player we're talking about, and he's got some pretty decent ownership, so to speak, although it's still in the double-digit mark. And then we've got Leroy Sané. My main concern with him is matchday 6, and I think he could be benched against Inter, especially if Bayern Munich seal qualification and first position in matchday 5. So I'd be a bit concerned about Leroy Sané going forwards, but against Barcelona, I think he will start and he could do a really good job like he has done in the past. And then Kvaratskhelia at home to Rangers. This is a great fixture for him. He's already gotten 2 double-digit returns back-to-back. I wouldn't be surprised if he made it 3 in a row. And then he's got Liverpool away, where I could also see him getting some points, although his ceiling will be much lower, of course. And then my other midfielder is Kudus. And actually, I was looking to get rid of him for someone like Anguissa going into matchday 4. Even when he's at home to Liverpool, I wouldn't be surprised if an attacking return playing up front for Ajax. And that Rangers game is where he could really actually pull himself apart and become one of the best midfielders around his price, obviously with Kvaratskhelia being the standout right now, and that really just completes the midfield. Going forwards, I've got Jutla at home to Porto, who have been in form recently, so I'm not too confident about Jutla, but he offers great value regardless, so I'm happy to have him. And Erling Haaland and Mbappe are 2 of the best options up front, and also in terms of the captaincy, and I think I would favour Mbappe for the 25th of October, and on the 26th, from those I have available, it probably would be Leroy Sané once again, although I would ideally captain someone like Salah, who I don't have, but Leroy Sané wouldn't be a bad captaincy option on the second day, and that would complete my team selection for matchday 5. However, I do have 2 free transfers, and I am looking to use them, especially in the goalkeeper position. Let me know if you have any suggestions for me down in the comment section below, and if you have any problems of your own, then also be sure to comment that as well. And now let's talk about the possible transfers for my matchday 5 team. My transfer plans have been slightly altered. I was waiting until maybe getting more information about possible rotation from teams like Real Madrid and potentially trimming down my players such as Carvajal, who could be rotated for Lucas Vazquez, and also Lunin, who could lose out once again to the number 1 Thibaut Courtois, who will be back in training and also should be available for the weekend against Sevilla. Maybe Elche is too soon on the Wednesday, but he should be fine for the weekend, and also as a result, matchday 5 next week. So I would actually be very happy to go for Kepa, who is probably my favourite goalkeeper playing on the 25th of October. My main concern with going for him is that he may be rotated in matchday 6, especially if Chelsea seal qualification and first position. But now we've got the big news, of course, which I covered in the other 2 videos as well towards the end, about Leroy Sané. He's going to be out indefinitely with a thigh injury, so he could miss up to 3 weeks, and as a result, he will miss the rest of the group stages, so hopefully he recovers soon. And in terms of replacements, I think the best one for me anyway, the one that really catches my eye, would be Mason Mount. I think he's the one that I would probably go for, and it is a bit difficult because I'm not as appealed by Mason Mount compared to Leroy Sané, but you've got to find a replacement. And once again with Chelsea, there could be rotation either in matchday 5 or 6. Chelsea face Brentford, of course, then they face Man United at the weekend, and then Salzburg, so plenty of rotation is going to happen. Maybe in the Premier League, possibly against Brentford, of course, is the one that I kind of tout for a lot of rotation there, but you just never know. And it could even be in the Champions League where some key players miss out and Chelsea can still get the job done. So it's not an ideal situation, and I am open to maybe other ideas. I already have triple City, so I'm not going to consider a City midfielder, but I could even go for a like-for-like replacement in Musiala, and I don't have enough money to go up to someone like Vinicius Jr. Unfortunately, I would be just a little bit short unless I stuck with Lunin and didn't go for Kepa. But once again, it all depends. If we get information about Lunin starting in matchday 5, then I'll actually keep him, and instead I will probably get rid of Adan up to Mignolet, or just keep the goalkeepers as they are and not really focus on them too much, and try to find a way to upgrade my midfield, get the best Leroy Sané replacement possible. And if I have the funds and I have a good feeling about Vinicius Jr. starting, for example, I could then go to him, and as a result maybe downgrade someone else like Carvajal. So really everything is up in the air in terms of my transfer plans, but assuming that Courtois comes back in goal for matchday 5, which is very likely, I would put Kepa in there to replace him and Mason Mount to replace Leroy Sané. If you have any other suggestions, then be sure to let me know. And also, what are you going to be doing in terms of replacing Leroy Sané? And thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it or found it useful, then be sure to smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. Let's get this video to over 300 likes, and let's also push on towards 16,000 subscribers. It'd be greatly appreciated. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, and also become a patron or a channel member. The links are in the description below. The same goes for the UCL Fantasy League and the Discord server. All of that is there. I wish you all the best luck for Matchday 5 and the rest of the season, and I'll see you next time.